Ms. Elena Cruz walked through the front gates of Crestfall High, her black heels clicking confidently against the pavement. The early morning sun shimmered off her sleek ponytail, but it wasn't her beauty that turned heads, it was the aura of quiet strength that followed her like a shadow. She was the new English teacher, and rumors had already started swirling before her first day even began. Ex-military, some whispered. Black belt in Krav Maga, others said. She took down 3 muggers in New York. None of the students truly knew the truth, but that didn't stop them from talking. And among the chatter, a group of senior bullies had already decided she would be their next victim. Derek. The ringleader was a 6'2" linebacker with more ego than empathy. Flanked by his usual crew, Chase the prankster, Leo the silent brute, and Jasmine the mean girl in lipstick, he spotted Miss Cruz walking into the teacher's lounge and smirked. "New meat," he muttered, elbowing Chase. "Let's see how long she lasts." They'd driven out 3 teachers last year, 1 left crying, 1 transferred mid-year, and the last, well, he'd just disappeared. Crestfall staff turnover was a joke, and the students ruled the halls, unchecked and unafraid. Elena, however, wasn't easily shaken. She set her coffee mug on her desk, took a deep breath, and began preparing her classroom. A poster on the wall read, "Respect isn't given, it's earned." She believed that with every fiber of her being, but little did she know today, she would have to prove it. First period started, and Elena strolled in as the bell rang. Eyes turned, whispers flew. The classroom buzzed with tension. Derek sat sprawled in the back row, feet on the desk, sunglasses on indoors. Chase was already rolling paper balls. Jasmine smirked, inspecting her nails. But Elena didn't flinch. "Good morning," she said with a calm that unnerved them. "I'm Miss Cruz. Let's begin." She picked up the chalk and turned to write. Her name on the board, and that's when it started. A spitball zipped past her head and stuck to the whiteboard. Giggles erupted. Lena paused, turned slowly, and raised an eyebrow. "Who?" she asked softly, scanning the room. No one confessed. Derek grinned, proud of the opening act. "Not gonna say? It's fine. Let's move on." As if nothing happened, unfazed. 10 minutes later, her chair suddenly collapsed under her. Chase had loosened the screws during lunch. Laughter exploded. Students howled and clapped, some even recording it on their phones. Elena landed on her feet like a cat and stood up, straightening her blouse without a word. She picked up the chair, placed it upright, and calmly continued. Where were we? Metaphor and simile. She didn't yell. She didn't threaten. She just kept going. It unsettled them more than any outburst would have. By 3rd period, the school was buzzing with stories. She didn't cry. She didn't even blink. The bullies, however, were only getting started. Derek wasn't used to people standing tall. He wasn't about to let a new teacher earn respect without proving herself. After school, they planned it all. "We'll flood her room," Jasmine suggested. "No," said Derek. "Let's break her spirit. We'll film it. Post it everywhere." The next morning, Elena arrived to find her classroom covered in red paint. Her desk was flipped. Books shredded. The words, "Quit while you can," were sprayed across the wall. Most teachers would have cried. Most would have gone straight to the principal, Elena. She walked in, surveyed the destruction silently, and pulled out her phone, but not to call the office. No, she began taking pictures. Then she began cleaning, quietly, purposefully. Within the hour, the room was spotless again. By the time her class arrived, she was sipping coffee and writing on a fresh whiteboard. "Today," she said, "we discuss resilience." Derek's jaw tightened. This wasn't going to plan. "What's wrong with her?" He hissed to Chase. "She's supposed to break." But Elena wasn't built to break. She was built to bend, to rise, to endure, and she had faced far worse than petty vandalism. Day after day, they escalated, locking her car, putting glue on her doorknob, faking emergencies to pull her out of class. Still, Elena remained calm. Still, she kept teaching. Still, she kept smiling. Then came the final straw. Friday afternoon, last class. Derek stood up in the middle of the lesson, walked to the front, and stared Elena down. "You don't belong here," he said loudly. Phones were out, cameras were rolling. "You're just another weak teacher. And you're going to leave like the rest." Elena looked at him, slowly setting her book down. Her eyes locked onto his with a piercing stillness. "Is that a challenge?" she asked. Laughter rippled through the room. Derek smirked. "What if it is?" Elena stepped forward. "Give me 60 seconds, she said. "You and your crew, right now. Let's see who walks out stronger." The room fell into a hush. Was she serious? A fight? A confrontation? She walked over to the gym mat near the back wall standard in classrooms used for emergency drills. "You said I don't belong?" she asked. "Prove it or sit down." And Derek couldn't back out now, not in front of everyone. He gestured to Chase and Leo. "Let's go." They stepped onto the mat. Phones were pointed. Students whispered. Miss Cruz removed her blazer, revealing a fitted black top and arms that hinted at training far beyond a weekend gym membership. She stood still, hands open, relaxed. "Ready?" she asked softly. Derek lunged. A blur of motion followed. In less than 3 seconds, she sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and flipped him flat on his back with a thud that echoed. Leo roared and charged, only to be met with a perfect sweep that sent him crashing beside Derek. Chase hesitated. He took a swing wild, untrained. Elena ducked, pivoted, and tapped a nerve on his shoulder that made him drop instantly, crying out in shock. Silence. The 60 seconds weren't even over. The classroom was stunned. No one moved. No one spoke. Elena picked up her blazer, dusted it off, and slipped it on. "Respect," she said, "isn't given. It's earned." She turned to her students. Class dismissed. And next week, Shakespeare. As she walked out, the students stood, one by one. Derek sat up, holding his back, face burning with humiliation but oddly. Also respect. News spread like wildfire. She took all 3 of them down in under a minute. Teachers watched the footage in disbelief. The principal called her in. "You used force?" Controlled Elena replied. "No one was seriously hurt. And I taught them a lesson no textbook could." He paused, then smiled. "I've needed someone like you for a long time." Statically by Monday, the school had changed. Students sat up straighter. The bullies, now quiet and contemplative, no longer mocked or misbehaved. Elena's room became a sanctuary. She didn't have to yell. She didn't have to threaten. Her presence commanded peace. She had earned it. And deep down, even Derek knew he'd tried to break her. But in 60 seconds, she'd broken something in him instead. His arrogance, his entitlement, his belief that power came from fear. For the first time, he was learning what true strength looked like. And it looked a lot like Ms. Elena Cruz. To be continued in Chapter 2. If you felt inspired by Ms. Cruz's courage, calm, and commanding power, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. More jaw-dropping stories of strength, justice, and redemption are coming your way. Stay tuned, hit that bell icon, and join the community that believes in standing up, fighting back, and never backing down.